My name is Emily Winninger, and I am a graduate student in the education program at Morningside College. I am also a kindergarten teacher at Duncombe Elementary in the Fort Dodge Community School District. I chose this topic to research because I currently have 8 students, kindergarten students in my classroom of 25, who are identified as second language learners. I wanted to test to see what the best model is to meet those students' needs as I move forward working with English language learners. I am always searching for effective ways to meet the needs of ELLs in the classroom. Benege and Ross in a 2011 article state that ELLs are at a disadvantage when it comes to reading fluency and comprehension. This greatly affects their ability to meet state requirements on standardized assessments. A 2009 article states that approximately 40% of fourth graders in the United States were considered not fluent. The majority of those 40% of students were ELLs. Teaching students who are not efficient in the English language are an ongoing problem in the United States. ELLs are not retaining new knowledge and often feel different than others because they are pulled out of the general regular classroom away from their peers. Students that do not become fluent in the English language by the time of graduation will face a deficit when applying for jobs in the workforce. A 2016 study states that co-teaching has recently become a popular model that shows better academic achievement and student behavior due to the presence of 2 instructors in the classroom. Additionally, Gottfried in a 2014 article stated that ELLs and non-ELLs should be in the same classroom for the entire day because it makes all students feel they belong in the classroom and school community. Gottfried also explained the importance of including all students in a social and academic setting in early childhood years. A 2009 study showed that results from that ELLs believe in themselves less than non-ELLs do. ELLs scored 2.07, while non-ELLs scored 2.25 when working with more than one classroom teacher. An average positive score is 1 closer to 3. ELLs in this study were more likely to follow classroom rules such as listening to the teacher and completing work quietly. A 2013 article by 2 authors gave information on students in the co-taught classroom with autism were also more likely to be on task with a score of 95.60 than those in a non-taught classroom, co-taught classroom with just one educator, and that classroom score was 91.60. The mean score of actively participating participants in a co-taught classroom was 40.83. Meanwhile, the mean score of actively participating students in non-co-taught classroom with just one educator again was 18. The higher the score, the more students were on task. The 2011 National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as the NAEP, indicated there was an achievement gap in a majority of states in the United States between Hispanic and white students in 4th grade and 8th grade. The NAEP states the achievement gap between ELLs and non-ELLs was 36 points out of 100 and 44 points out of 100 in 8th grade, showing that there was an increasing gap during a 4-period school year. During a period of 4 school years. The purpose of this study was to measure the effectiveness of an inclusion model compared to a traditional ESL pull-out model on kindergarten letter sound fluency skills. This research has implications for kindergarten teachers as they are planning to know how to most effectively impact students' letter sound fluency growth. It was hypothesized that Spanish-speaking kindergarten students who qualify for second language support will perform higher on fluency skills when learning in a co-taught classroom setting involving the regular classroom teacher and the English language educator than those who are taken out of the classroom and taught in a secluded room. A total of 8 kindergarten students participated in this study, 6 females and 2 males. All participants speak Spanish as their native language at home. More than 50% of ELLs in this study qualify for free and reduced lunch. No students participating in this study have an individualized educational plan, also known as an IEP. Therefore, all 8 students are not considered to have any academic or behavioral needs in the general education classroom. Because the participants are considered English language learners, they require extra support from a qualified professional. There were 2 groups in this study. The first group was a group of 4 students who participated in a pull-out instruction with the ELL teacher. This group was called the experimental group. The next group was a second group of different 4 ELL students that stayed in the classroom to participate in whole group instruction. This group would be called the control group. This particular study used a quantitative research to determine the impact of co-teaching on ELL students' fluency achievement. The results of the study can be used to help teachers make instructional decisions to help English language learners. All educators working with students who need extra support can benefit from this study to help all students have access to a reliable and viable curriculum. My work as a practitioner will be impacted by whether or not I continue co-teaching or having the ELL teacher implement a traditional pull-out ELL model. The curriculum used in this particular study is called Really Great Reading. Really Great Reading is a phonemic awareness and phonics curriculum. It is scripted. The FAST test fluency pages were also needed to complete the state standardized tests. All educators in this particular study had access to the required materials. The study was conducted in 5 20-minute sessions per week, over a span of 12 weeks. All students participating in this study completed a pre-test before research. All students also completed a post-test once intervention was over. As a reminder, the purpose of this study was to test the effects of an inclusion model compared to a traditional ESL pull-out methodology on kindergarten letter sound fluency skills. An independent samples t-test was used to compare the 2 groups on both the pre-test and post-test. Results show that no significant increase in letter sound scores were found between the pull-out intervention and the whole group instruction. Table 1 shows a comparison as well as the standard deviation and p-value from all participant scores on both the pre-test and the post-test. As a reminder, Group 1 left the classroom and Group 2 stayed in the classroom with the classroom teacher and their peers. Table 2 shows the experimental group's mean score on the letter sound fluency post-test, which was 38.250, and the standard deviation was 17.78, was about 10% higher than that of the control group, which was the mean score of 25.500 and the standard deviation as 17.82. Pre-test and post-test results from all participants in the study can be seen in Figure 1. Although you see that both groups improved tremendously from the pre-test to the post-test, findings support that ELL students staying in the classroom, which would be Group 2, had higher scores on the standardized assessments compared to those who left the classroom for instruction, which would be Group 1. Data shows that teaching phonemic awareness and phonics skills through the inclusion methodology increased letter sound fluency. However, based on the p-value and t-value score, there is no statistically significant difference. Therefore, the hypothesis that students who receive phonemic awareness and phonics instruction through an inclusion model will outperform students who receive instruction outside the classroom cannot be supported. The hypothesis cannot be supported because the probability that the results are due to chance is too high. This study discussed the potential of ESL pull-out method positively affecting English language scores on the FAST assessment. However, future research should be implemented to conclude if co-teaching has a positive effect on ELLs in the elementary classroom. When considering the conclusions drawn by the present researcher, it is important to consider 3 limitations. Completing a t-test on less than 10 students cannot be relied to be accurate. The amount of time given for the study was a limitation of the study as well, and there were different teaching styles even though the materials used in the study were from a scripted curriculum. The first limitation to this study is the sample size. Only 8 students experimented in this study. The second limitation is the amount of time given for the study. There was a time limit on this particular study that affected the outcome of the experiment. The third limitation is the different types of teaching. Data may be affected due to the fact participants were in different classrooms learning from two different educators. There are various recommendations that can be implemented for future research. More students would add reliability to the study results because more data points would be available. There were time constraints for both the baseline and intervention phase. Increasing the amount of time the researcher spent to implement the particular study would benefit the data results as well. Adding the length of time would give the researcher to give more assessments. More assessments give the researcher more data points. An option would be to apply more weeks to the study. Instead of a 12-week research study, a year-long research study would give researchers more time to implement an A-B research design. Another recommendation could be to study a co-teaching model or method. This would require the same 2 groups of participants to be divided by having one group participate in the ELL pull-out methodology, just like what was in this study, and the other group stay in the classroom with the general education throughout the entire study, just like what happened in this study. However, after a certain amount of time, an assessment could be given, co-teaching would occur, and that would be measured in the research study. All students who left the classroom would actually join the educator, the English language educator, in the classroom teacher. Having a new focus could determine the effectiveness of student achievement on letter sound fluency when staying in the classroom for instruction with 2 educators. In conclusion, this presentation attempted to discuss the study of a potential ESL pull-out method positively affecting English language learners' scores on FAST assessments. However, there was no significant statistical significance in the post-test scores on the FAST. This study did not confirm that an ESL pull-out model is an effective intervention method for students who speak English as a second language. Co-teaching may be an effective delivery mode for ELLs to increase their grade level sound fluency. However, future research must be implemented to conclude if co-teaching has a positive effect on ELLs in the elementary classroom. Thank you.